Well, the time is just gone 9:22. We continue with the broadcast on news and views this morning. Still to come on the show shortly, we'll be talking with Maggs Naidu, ceasefire now campaign, and also we'll be joined later on by Donovan Williams, international relations expert, and talking about there will never be peace in the world if the U.S. remains in charge, and also taking a look at the ethnic cleansing in Israel with the FMYO, the Fallsburg Muslim Youth Organization. We're talking with Mohammed Amin Minty. But right now, we're going to go across to Maggs Naidu, who is a retired South African who is determined to leave South Africa better than he found it. Having survived through decades of apartheid horrors, he is grateful to be living in the world's finest democracy with its constitutionally enshrined human rights. He is beyond abhorred by the wanton, unconstrained slaughter of innocents in Gaza and now spilling over into the West Bank, happening in our lifetime. He is encouraged by the clear, unambiguous policy and position of our South African government, which is standing firm against all manner of attempts to intimidate, bully, coerce, threaten us into submission, to not defend the rights and lives of the people of Palestine. He is also encouraged by the many, many South African voices against this outrage. He's determined to mobilize with like minded others who are exemplary human beings and extraordinary contemporary activists, a strong and clear South African civil society. And this is an initiative called Ceasefire Now. Mr. Maggs Naidu, good morning to you, sir, and welcome to the
Good
show.
morning.
Yes,
Thank you.
wonderfully able to join us. And clearly, from what I've read about you, you are extremely passionate, but also at the same time, I suppose, gravely concerned at what is playing out in Gaza.
It's horrific. It's absolutely horrific. Drawing analogies will reduce the impact of what's happening, but the situation is, I suppose, in some way analogous to what is broadly called shooting fish in a barrel. Uh, it shouldn't be happening. It is totally, totally outrageous. If I'll use a local example, Lesotho. We know that there's all kinds of thefts of cattle on the borders. We know that Lesotho citizens are involved in illegal mining and atrocities. Our military cannot go and bomb Maseru because we have problems with Lesotho now wanting to claim back part of South Africa. We just cannot do it. And yet we have a situation where the world, irrespective of the noise, is tolerating what is going on in the Gaza Strip in particular. We have to raise our voices. I'm not naive to suggest that this campaign is going to cause the ceasefire. But if we as South Africans, as reasonable human beings, can mobilize civil society into taking a position of ceasefire now, let the politicians sort out the politics later. 2-year-old children, irrespective of who they are, should not be subjected to the anger and inability of adults not being able to sort out what are largely political issues. I often see these things and I'm reduced to tears that in my lifetime and yours, this is happening in front of us and we're helpless to stop it. We cannot, as South Africans, live on a regime of human rights if we do not collectively raise our voices against what is going on.
Yes, certainly. And, as you make mention in your appeal, you say this is not a political campaign, it's not an ideological campaign, it's not a religious campaign. And talking to many analysts right across the entire world, when they talk about Palestine, they talk about Palestine being a cause for justice, a cause against oppression, a cause against brutality. And all of this, at the end of the day, as you mentioned, in our lifetime, we never ever dreamt, Mr. Naidu, of actually seeing the images that we are seeing. And this is a genocide, this is a Holocaust, this is a carnage in every sense of the term. And one should not be mincing our words at the horrific images that we see flashing on our screens on a daily basis, hour by hour, minute by minute, and this is non-stop. This is relentless.
Yes, future generations are going to look back and ask, what did our parents, our grandparents, our grandparents do during this terrible time? And we all have a duty to leave this world better than we found it. So I'm appealing to every right minded South African, irrespective of what your personal views are on this, what your political views are, what your ideological views are. Let's mobilize around civil society expressing a single aspiration: cease fire now. Then people can go out and do whatever else they're doing. But really, this carnage has to stop, and we have to express our voices in a clear, unambiguous way.
Yes, and I think what is important also to understand that looking at the people of Palestine, they have the highest regard, they have the highest respect for people of South Africa because knowing that what we've gone through the apartheid era, and they always look at us as a role model. They look at us as an example that stands up. Against injustice, against apartheid, against oppression, and we have it right across the entire board, a cross section of society. And this is the reason why you are saying that you are reaching out to everyone. You're reaching out to activists, to leaders, to political formations, to labor movements, religious organizations, civil society, NGOs, and we have all of that in our country, Mr. Naidu.
Absolutely. And every single voice that is raised is important. So I'm overwhelmed with the amount of support. This is less than 2 days old that we started talking about this. And there's some very interesting names associated with it, very high profile South Africans. I'm not going to raise their names now. They will raise their own names. Were equally appalled. But what comes through is is a feeling of helplessness. Everyone I spoke to, while they absolutely appalled and emotionally devastated, there's a feeling of helplessness. And this campaign is now a way to relieve that helplessness and start to do something. But I just want to reflect on something you said about South Africa, which was important. South Africa is a very significant voice in the world. Irrespective of our small size, we stuck away in the southern tip of Africa. Everybody wants to hear what is our position as South Africa, as South Africans on any significant world issue. And we have a duty now to say, in addition to the determined stance that our government is taking, and I applaud our government for their unrelenting stance on the Palestine issue, irrespective of all the threats and bullying and intimidation and coercion, we are standing firm, our government is standing firm, but civil society has to stand alongside government and say, yes, that is our government's position. Yes, that is our government's policy. We as South Africans, in a large, significant number, also stand with that position. Ceasefire now.
Yes, I see a message come up on the screen from Donovan Williams, and I know I'm going to be talking to Donovan very, very shortly, saying that go strong, Mags. Let's all rally and make this call for a ceasefire now. So this is the level of support, and it is encouraging that Donovan has actually put this message up on the screen, and I'm sure that many, many people will come forward because you're talking about this leadership group that is being organized over the next few days, and anybody wanting to get involved, you appealing for people to make themselves available, and at the same time you're saying that you're hoping that this will be the shortest campaign ever because this brutality, this genocide, this carnage must end.
Absolutely. The quicker it stops, the fewer people are going to get further murdered or brutalized. So yes, you're right. That's this campaign. I'm hoping it stops even before it takes off. It has taken off, but before it gains any further momentum. We are not partisan. We are not appealing to people who are pro-Palestine. We are appealing to the humanity of people across the board, irrespective of their religion, their political ideology, whatever else may be. We will encourage every single person who has a sense of decency, has a sense of humanity, to please support this call in whatever way we could. What we are not going to do is to allow ourselves to be detracted into all other side issues. And I have no doubt that people will try to hijack this kind of campaign because of the momentum that is gaining for their own aspirations. We encourage people to use whatever slogans come out and emanates from this in their own campaigns. But this campaign will not be detracted. We are single-minded. It is around ceasefire now. We cannot sit by and do nothing while another child is brutalized. So that is the position we're taking. We're very clear on that. Yes, I have my own political and ideological leanings, as you well know, but that's not going to interfere with where we are at the moment. Ceasefire now.
Well,
That's it.
Well, we've seen it right across the entire world, and this is a call. The ceasefire now campaign is being echoed right across the entire world, and these voices are being amplified by the day. Looking at the level of support and the level of protest right across the entire world, and as you mentioned, this has got nothing to do with ideology. This is about us being human at the end of the day, and just being human warrants us to actually call for an end to all this brutality that we see unfolding as well. Just finally, for anybody wanting to get involved, what do they do? Who do they contact? How do they get in touch with you for this particular campaign?
All right, we're busy organizing as we speak. It started off as a discussion 2 days ago. We have now gained a lot of momentum. We're busy organizing ourselves. We will make contact details and other relevant information available within the next day or so. And certainly, I will pass it on to your people so they can publicize it. But uh, please, I'm appealing to every South African in whatever way, whatever is possible. Please call for a ceasefire now, uh, in order to demonstrate our humanity, and that's the bottom line. Let's demonstrate our humanity.
Well, thank you for that. I see Jera Chetty also says very clearly positioned. Well done, Meg. So it's encouraging to see that the support base is starting to grow. We wish you well, and obviously look forward to further communication from yourselves. Once it's structured as well. And at Salam Media, obviously, we're happy to actually give this campaign coverage as we have been doing to many other campaigns. We've got our own campaign coming up next week. We've got Dr. Mats Gilbert, who is coming out, a Norwegian doctor who's worked for 15 years in Gaza as well, so he knows the terrain quite well. So he's going to be part and parcel of the campaign. And one of his requests, Max, was for us to reach out to all sectors of society in South Africa. So hopefully, with that campaign coming up from next week Wednesday as well, we will keep you posted with that campaign as well. So, but for now, we thank you. We appreciate you taking time out, and we wish you well. And let our humanity prevail. And I think that is extremely important, and that is a very strong message. It's a very, very profound message. So once again, we appreciate your time. Please take care and good luck.
Thank you.
Maggs Naidu joining us this morning, Ceasefire Now campaign, and we will fill our listeners, our viewers, with details once the organization is structured and the campaigns as well going forward. With that, we're going to go for a break, and we'll come back with Donovan Williams, and we are talking about international relations, particularly looking at the United States of America, its international relations, and why the United States of America is actually a threat to the entire world.